getting pounded like that. It's not that he doesn't have the ability to play like that. You're in the NFL now. It's the war of attrition. You hear that comment being made all the time. Don't you think it's harder to coach a guy like Jalen Hurts than Tua Tagovailoa or even Tom Brady? Tom, drop back, throw the ball. This is what Shane Steichen, this is what Lane Kiffin, this is what Steve Sarkisian, when they were at Alabama, had to think. Do we put design runs in? Fictional football show. It's your boy Big Stills. Pull up a chair. Put your phone somewhere, put us on your television set, sit back and listen for the next 3 hours. We are power-packed. One of our dear friends will step in with us today, Merrill Reese. That'll be in hour 2. The legendary voice of your Philadelphia Eagles will be with us at 4:30 Eastern Time. I love kicking it around with a man that has covered that team for 6 decades. And we will talk with him. Loves and has passion for that team like no other. One of the greatest voices for a professional sports team of all time. You know how many people revere Vince Scully when he was calling the Dodger games, Brooklyn and in Los Angeles? Same thing could be said about Merrill calling the Eagle games. We have them for you. That is, again, in hour number 2 at 4:30. I was listening to Barrett Brooks. I love listening to Barrett on Sports Take. I really do. You know, he said something that made me pause about Jalen Hurts. I was going to start my show with something completely different, but I heard Barrett say something. Barrett goes like this. No, I'm good with now. I'm good with Jalen. And then he went on to say this. If you're going to look at Jalen Hurts like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, you're going to be disappointed. I think Barrett and I are on the same boat when it comes to Jalen Hurts, that it really isn't about statistics with him. The 4,200 passing yards and 30 touchdowns, that's for fantasy football people. Like I've been saying here, beating the Vikings, Washington, the Cowboys, Packers. That's where you make your stamp as a player in this league. It wasn't so much that Lamar Jackson was a unanimous MVP a couple of years ago in Baltimore. His status went up last year when he beat Patrick Mahomes and he beat that Chiefs team, didn't it? We looked at him different. Because when you start to beat one of those elite teams and one of those elite quarterbacks, that's when the narrative changes on you. Look at what the narrative is right now on Dak Prescott. Great stats, gets bounced early in the playoffs. That's not a winning formula when you're talking about the elite guys in the sport. So let me go back, and I'll tell you what is even more cool about this is that my boy Xander was around when this was going on between Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. And I think it's so appropriate this week because both their teams are going to face each other. Obviously, Tua and Jalen aren't going to play this weekend, but they will in that organized team practices. So they'll see each other, and they'll be going back and forth, jockeying and ping pong and what have you. You're not going to really see them on a Saturday game, though, for the final exhibition game. Can we make this statement about Jalen? Watch this. Who's easier to coach? And I wonder when they were in Alabama, if the coaches in Alabama just didn't go with the easier guy to coach. And here's what I mean by that. When you have a drop back quarterback who's not going to take off running, you don't have to design plays. You don't have to worry about his health too much. You don't have to pace. Do we agree Nick Sirianni and Shane Steichen are going to have to pace Jalen Hurts this year? You can't run that guy 20 carries in a game and have him throw the ball 35 times a game. He'll never make it to the end of the season. That guy won't make it to the finish line like that. Getting pounded like that, it's not that he doesn't have the ability to play like that. You're in the NFL now. It's the war of attrition. You hear that comment being made all the time. Don't you think it's harder to coach a guy like Jalen Hurts than Tua Tagovailoa or even Tom Brady? Tom, drop back, throw the ball. This is what Shane Steichen, this is what Lane Kiffin, this is what Steve Sarkisian, when they were at Alabama, had to think. Do we put design runs in? Do we have them drop back? Do we have them roll? That's a harder game plan to put together. Would you not agree? That's a harder athlete to coach than just Peyton Manning. Now, the advantages with a quarterback like Manning and Brady, okay, obviously, savants upstairs, no progression reading, but it's easier to coach. When you got a guy like Lamar, hell, even Kyler Murray, right? Even Kyler Murray. You have to really put a game plan together, not only to win games, but to preserve your guy. That's the thing they're fighting in Buffalo right now. One of the reasons that they went out and they've made an absolute emphasis on O-line and running backs. They can't have that quarterback sitting up there in Buffalo getting pounded week in, week out. You're just not going to make it to the finish line. Jalen Hurts is a harder athlete to coach than a Gardner Minshew or a Carson Wentz. Tom Brady, for that matter. Harder to coach. And what I mean by harder to coach, not that they have any lesser talent, it's a different style of talent. See, I'm set in my ways that I like a certain style. And I've told you guys this before, okay? You know, Jim Furyk, I've made that analogy to you guys before. Jim Furyk won major championships with the worst golf swing on the planet. And I would be one of the guys that would try to change that and take away what that guy's comfort zone is. Jalen Hurts' comfort zone is the way in his style of play. Why would we want to take that away by asking him to throw the ball 35 times a game? That's why I guess when Nick Sirianni says this, no one's open, he's taking off. And he's comfortable with it. He doesn't want to take him out of his identity and his style of play. They're putting a game plan together in Philadelphia that fits his style. And they've got to craft this. They didn't want to do this in Alabama. The easier guy to coach was Tua. Plus, you had all those guys. That's why A.J. Brown fits in the Eagle offense. He's going to be dominant in the run game. He's a yak guy. You got another speed guy on the other side in Devonta. Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin and Alabama had all those Calvin Ridleys and Jalen Waddles, all those guys in that room. They weren't going to waste those wide receivers in that room with a guy who has a different style of play. So they benched him. And they went with the passer. Jalen Hurts is a tough style to coach. The player's not tough to coach. The player's receptive. He was raised by a coach. That's not where I'm going here. That's not what I'm saying at all. Okay? So when you're looking at, because Nick goes, yeah, this is not a good he's never going to be a guy who's going to throw for 5,000 yards. It's a different style. It's about wins with him. It's never going to be about numbers. He is not going to put up a shitload of numbers in Philadelphia. He is not. But he could put up a shitload of wins. And at the end of the day, that fits his style of play better. Jesus criminy. Who gives a shit if Jalen Hurts throws the ball for 450 yards? If they beat Dallas and he throws for 175 yards and he's 16-18 for 3 touchdowns, what do you care? Jesus, you sound like your owner with Doug Peterson on a Monday having to explain why they won this way. How pathetic. Who cares if Jalen Hurts never throws for 4,000 yards? Jalen Hurts wins 13 ball games. People aren't going to care about that shit. I think the year that Lamar won the MVP unanimously, I think he only threw for 3,100 yards, 3,400 yards, something like that. Okay? This is going to be about wins. This is going to be about winning football. Okay? Hey, chalk it up sports. No, because if you're 65 or 70 years old, people can't be wrong, or the evaluation of a player and how you see it, because you've got to be set in your ways, because that's old school Philly sports talk. If you massage your take a little, people think you're flip-flopping. No. I'm trying to come to center with you, and I'm trying to, quite frankly, guess what I'm doing? Compromise. Because I never think he's never going to throw for big numbers. He's not that good of a passer. Get that in your head. But he can win a lot of ball games. All he has to do is do what Roethlisberger does. Make 5 plays a game, and he could carry his football team across the finish line, because that team is stacked. I said to you yesterday, that team is stacked. They're ready to roll. They're ready to go, man. Okay? I agree, but we'll say he can't. He's not a passing quarterback. Wait, Mike. I'm not waffling on numbers here with him. He'll never be a prolific passer. That's just not what he is. But he could be a prolific winner. How about this? He could be a better version of Michael Vick. Vick never won. Vick was great to look at. He didn't win shit. When you pick the top 25 quarterbacks in NFL history, Vick's name's not in it. But he was fun to watch. By the way, I would never take Brett Favre as my starting quarterback. You know why? He turns the ball over too much. This guy retired as the all-time passing touchdown leader and interception guy. Not so much my guy. I like people that take care of the football. Okay? Solo, absolutely spectacular. So do you pay him based on those wins? That's a great take, Solo. Because I think that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles and their front office have come to grips with. If Jalen Hurts leads this team to the NFC Championship game, okay, his numbers are going to be pretty decent. Not exceptional, but they'll be decent enough for them to go, he's our guy moving forward. Okay? He's our guy moving forward. GT goes, okay, how about this? Can we win a Super Bowl like that? Like I told you before, Kaepernick got to a Super Bowl. He can. Kaepernick's probably a better passer. Okay? Probably a little, I wouldn't say a lot either. But circle back to my point here. Jalen Hurts is a different style of. John Harbaugh, look at what he had to go through. He had to go from Joe Flacco, a pure drop back guy, to a style of play that was polar opposite on what he's coached. That's great coaching in Baltimore. John Harbaugh might be the most underrated coach in all of pro football. When you bring up the great names of coaches in the NFL, somehow his name always gets passed over. And he's the better Harbaugh, by the way, as a coach. That guy, not saying that Jim's not good either. This guy's 47-17 or something like that as a head coach in the NFL. Jim Harbaugh can coach the NFL. But this John Harbaugh, man, look at what he had to do. Revamp this entire offense around one guy. Hurts has 27 turnovers in 20 games. You've got to cut that down immensely if you're going to win a Super Bowl. Easy Money says it's about wins and then making noise in the playoffs. Right. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Okay? Please hit the like button here. So let's move it on to the next phase here. The way that this Eagle team has been constructed by Howie Roseman and being coached by Nick Sirianni. You think this team could beat the Rams, Bucks, or Packers? And those are the three best quarterbacks in the NFC this year. You think they could beat those three teams? You put the Eagles on the field with the Packers. By the way, I think the Packers defense will be better than the Eagle defense this year. I think they're going to end up in the top 5, maybe top 3, the Packers. There's a lot of talent on that Packer defense. I've been saying that all year. That's not just an epiphany here on August 23rd. Look at the commodities and draft assets. Look at the money they've been spending when it comes to re-signing guys. It's been on the defensive side. They let Devonta Adams loose because they had to sign guys on the defensive side. They were younger and they were more impactful. Green Bay looks at wide receivers and says, we've been doing it for 40 years our way. We'll do it again. Did anyone see when Patrick got hit in the playoffs, his neck almost buckled? I did not. Have you seen the Bucs O-line? I have, Jones. But Brady will adjust to that. Get the ball out quicker. More screen passes to the running backs. The running backs are going to have to be a factor early on until they get Jensen and some of them guys back. There's no doubt they got a mass unit on that offensive line. That's why I said, if I was Jason Light, the general manager of the Buccaneers, I'd call Howie Roseman and go, what's up with Dillard? Or even Jack Driscoll, something like that, just to get some bodies in there. People are still doubting his ability. No, they're not. They're talking about what he's done. Ability, I haven't seen one thing from that quarterback in Philadelphia that makes me think he's going to progress as a passer in the league. Not one thing. Zero. I'm with D Gunn. Go out and do it. And then we do this. Watch this. Hey, man, he is getting better. People can be proven wrong. It happens daily. Most people in their life are proven wrong daily. Okay, the Rams take. So you don't think they could beat the Rams? Eagles will win 12 wins and see the playoffs. Maybe an NFC championship game, says Ryan. Personally, I don't believe the Eagles can beat the Rams, Bucks, or Packers. I'd like to see them play the Rams, though. But I don't believe you could beat any one of those three teams right now until we see the action of the team as they get out there and play. And we see the first quarter poll of the season. I don't believe you can beat those three teams yet. Because what's the difference between those teams and what's the difference between those teams and the Eagles? The quarterback is superior and the defenses are right on par. With the Rams, you got the best pass rusher in the sport and one of the top corners in the sport. The Bucs have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and the Packers have one of the best defenses and the two-time reigning MVP. I don't believe you could beat any one of those three teams as of today. Okay? That doesn't mean I wouldn't like to see that Eagle team lining up against the Rams, because I think that Rams defense can be run on. You're not running on Villa Veda, and you're not running on that Buccaneer D-line. You couldn't do it last year, and nothing's changed in 7 months. They added the kid from Chicago when Sue left. Nothing's really changed on defense. You're not running the ball against that front. They shut down the best O-line last year in football. Remember that. You were one-dimensional against the Bucs, and they smoked you. They said, let's stop the run. He can't win in the passing game. And they crushed him. We'll see if that's changed. You think how much do you think A.J. Brown has changed that score in that game? 10 points? It was still never close. How much do you think that's really changed? Sills, what makes you think the Eagles can't beat the Rams? Because the quarterback's better. Wide receivers, you got the best wide. Here's what the Rams have. The Rams had the best wide receiver in the game last year coming back. They added Allen Robinson. Matthew Stafford was sensational last year. He beat both Aaron Rodgers and Brady. Then he turns around on the defensive side, and you got Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. You got some of the top 3 players at 5 different positions in the sport. I would even make this argument. Stafford's probably in the conversation for the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFC. Ramsey's in the top 3 for corners. Donald's 1. Kupp could be 1 or 2 in passing. Kupp had almost 2,000 yards receiving last year. It was an iconic season. You're talking about unreal play on those 3 teams. Savvy says the NFC is wide open. But here's Savvy where I think the Eagles can catch the Rams, Bucks, and Packers. You ready? I don't think these 3 teams are as deep as the Eagles are. And I think they can wear them out like they did teams in 17. You're not overly talented like those Rams, Bucks, or Packers teams, but you're deeper. That just might be enough to win an NFC title. That just might be enough. At the beginning of the year, you're not going to be in those 3 teams' leagues. But by the end of the year, I think you will. See, the Bucks, the Packers, and the Rams can't afford losses. Why? Because they're not deep because of the money they're paying some of these guys. When you pay the money that you pay to have a roster like those guys do, win today, would we agree? This Philadelphia Eagle roster is not just for win today. It's next year. You got 2 first-round draft choices. It's the year after. Rams, Bucks, and Packers, with those quarterbacks, man, you got to win today. This is a today deal. Buffalo, it's not about today or this year. It's about the next 10 years. Okay? It's about the next 10 years. That's what this is. Broncos and Eagles in the Super Bowl. I don't think the Broncos are deep. I don't think they're very deep. Eagles, Bills. Like I said, you just may have enough to get yourself to that game. By the way, Merrill Reese, hour 2, 4:30 Eastern time. You may have enough. Today, that's why when teams talk about, and watch this, I have completely come full circle on your Dallas Cowboys. I do not believe that football team will have a 500 record in 2022. No way. Running game's going the other way. It's trending bad. Zeke has gone from 80 yards a game to like 55. No Amari Cooper, banged up wide receiving core. Diggs had an out of his mind and out of body experience season. He ain't doing that again. You think that guy's going to put multiple double-digit interception seasons up? Not happening. Do you know the last time somebody had double-digit interceptions like that? It was Everson Walls back in the 80s. He ain't doing that again. So what does that mean? That turnover differential is going to be drastically different in Dallas. You know what I'm doing to Dallas? I'm going to run the ball on them. And that's what the Eagles do best. Dude, don't throw the ball against the Cowboys. Run the ball against the Cowboys. And you'll pound them like the Browns did 2 years ago for 290 yards on them. Pete, that Cowboy team ain't having a 500 record. They're not making the playoffs. In a down NFC, too. They're not making it. They're not making it. Easy Money says, Rams soft this year. Eagles better make it to the NFC title game, at least if Hurts is the guy. Roster's top 3. Roster's top 3. Watch this. Who's got a better roster than the Eagles right now on August 23rd? Bills? Maybe. What's another deep team? Jesus. Bills and Eagles. I'm trying to think of a team that's been Pittsburgh? Maybe the Steelers? Nobody's built like Buffalo and Philly. Nobody. Now, that second unit's got to play better than they did against the Browns. Try getting off the bus. That might help. Matt, the Eagles do not have a better roster than the Bills. Are you crazy? You don't have one wide receiver on your football team that's ever had a 100-catch season. I think Diggs has done it 3 times already. That quarterback in Buffalo is the favorite to win the Most Valuable Player award. Their defense is as good or better than yours. And their coach is better. Speak in reality. They're stacked. Now, easy money, repeating as champs. Dolphins are going to need to be packed. By the way, we're going to get into a little bit of Dolphins and Eagles here in a second. I got a topic here for you. Buffalo, where are you getting this info from? I'm not what you're sure you're talking about celebrating. The Rams, in my opinion, will not win it again. They will not. They will not. Because they'll have, especially if Stafford's arm is where it's at right now. SMD Eagles, yes, speak in reality. I am. When it comes to Jalen Hurts, I do speak in reality. He's not a very good passer. And he must throw better and be more consistent. SMD Eagles, you're dead on. Hey, by the way, we're going to find out if he's improved. There's no more wishful thinking. Because that's all it is. It's wishful thinking. I'm hoping. I heard even Barrett hoping. I think he can. Anytime you use the words if and hope, okay, there's no clarity to that. If and hope or I wish. That's not certainty. Aaron Rodgers is a bona fide NFL legend and MVP. First ballot Hall of Famer. That's factual. That's factual. Tom Brady's the greatest winner in the history of pro football. That's factual. Stafford erased some of the demons of Detroit to go on and show people with a good organization around him, he can win a Super Bowl. That's factual. That's reality. Here's not what's reality. Jalen Hurts is going to throw for 4,400 yards and 33 touchdowns. That's wishful thinking. That's wishful thinking. Sometimes when reality gets put out in front of you and you have to write it down and look at it, it's a hard pill to swallow. But that's okay. I'd rather be a guy that has to go out and prove it than a guy that's sitting on his laurels that goes out. I want to be that underdog. I think the Philadelphia Eagles should take on that coat. And I think they should take on that attitude. It's us against the world like they did in 17. You know what made that team 17 great? It was an attitude they had. And you know what that attitude was? What was that comment at the parade that Jason Kelsey? How do you like us now? Okay. That was an attitude that they had as an organization that resonated down with the locker room. Said we can't do it, lost our quarterback, our MVP. Still went out there and beat the shit out of the GOAT. Dude, that's an attitude. That's something that a lot of teams, they can't put that recipe together. We go out there and beat your ass. Hey, man, If that recipe was easy, everyone would have the ingredients to it. Okay? That's right, Rage. F you attitude. You know? Hey, man, I love that take, Jones. Hungry dogs run faster. You're damn right. Hey, I'll tell you what, Jones, Nick Saban says this all the time. By the way, Xander, congratulations. Your boy's the highest paid coach, and rightfully so. Signed a $93 million contract. He's such a GOAT. You know what he says? He goes like this. Hey, when someone gets food put on their table all the time, they're not quite as hungry to go out and earn it the next time. But when you're starving, you're motivated to do anything. He goes, those guys are hard to beat, man, when you got to feed yourself. Because you'll do anything to get that plate of food on your table. You know, you feel me? Matt. Gigi, I can't wait until Sills has to take back all the trash he's been speaking on the Eagles. I just said that I think you have enough to get to the NFC Championship game by the end of the year. That's trash talking, Matt. Again, dude, you must be unbelievable at a Christmas dinner party when you're having a debate because you just hear the shit you want to hear. Unreal, man. Then again, you'd fit right into my house because whoever hollers the loudest, no matter if you have the facts or not, dog, whoever hollers the loudest at an Italian house usually wins the argument. Yeah, but you're not right. I won the argument. Okay, hey, that's good. Pete, Hurts can throw for 4,000 yards. It's 250 yards a game. Bro, you've never had but one guy throw for 4,000 yards in your history of your team. You've never had a 100-catch wideout. And there's not a guy on your roster that, oh, wait, the $25 million a year guy's never even had more than 70. What are you talking about? Reality. Hey, Forrest, over here. Over here, Forrest. Still said NFC Championship game. That works. I'll tell you what. Like Xander says, Jalen Hurts gets that team to the NFC Championship game. He'll have a $40 million bag of money waiting for you at the end of the whole thing. Dude, I love that attitude. No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. Dude, I love that. Hey, that's a great T-shirt. Delph, I like that, man. That's a great T-shirt. Hey, I love the one that Lamar Jackson wears. Nobody cares. Man, that's one of my favorite shirts he wears. Nobody cares. Okay? Nobody cares. Channel says, Philadelphia fans have something in the sandwich and they ain't sharing. Super delusional fans. I don't think so. I think they got a lot of talent, man. I do. I think they got a lot of talent. Jay says, Sills doesn't like me and I effing love it. Hey, man, I told you, the only thing I hate are Nazis. That's it, man. Hey, by the way, dogs, okay? This is absolutely one of the greatest and coolest things that we have done here at JAKIB. Lane Johnson is now being added to the mix here with D. Gunn, Mike Missinelli, Seth. Everybody is going to have themselves an opportunity to watch the greatest post-game show in Philadelphia. And I'm telling you, it's an all-star cast. This is the dream team. This is a dream team post-game show. I don't know if I've ever seen a post-game show with guys like this, especially when you have D. Gunn and Mike, and then you add Seth, the former excellent player and legendary Eagle, and a current guy in Lane. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. Okay? I mean, it's a dream team. And I can't wait to watch it the week of September 11th, man. Fantastic stuff. What an absolute treat that is. You get Seth, the legend, and Lane, Mike Missinelli, a local Philadelphia Eagles and sports talk legendary guy when it comes to talking about the Eagles. Mike has done it forever and one of the legendary voices in Philly. And you got D. Gum, one of the most respected people on the planet. Man, I can't wait to watch that thing. That thing's going to be spectacular. I want to hit on Dolphins and Eagles here in a second as well. Please hit the like button. Guys, do me a favor, okay? If you're in the market for an attorney, if you've been hurt or injured on the job, Morgan & Morgan is your company. They are a company that looks out for their clients and will never, ever say this to you. There's no such thing as a fender bender or a small client. They're the biggest firm in the country, too, with over 800 attorneys strong in Philly, New York, and in Florida. Nobody is better when it comes to covering their people and getting them the best compensation that they possibly can for their clients. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. The call is free. The consultation is free. 800-512-1600. Open 24/7, 7 days a week. Do me a favor, too, when you call them, tell them Dan Sileo sent you.
Choosing a lawyer for your injury case, you may ask, does the size of the law firm matter? Well, of course it does. The insurance company, they're huge with unlimited resources. And whether your case is big or small, they're built to bully you out of the money you're owed. But here's the good news. We're big too, the biggest actually. And we're built to fight to make them pay for all that was taken from you. Size is our strength. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.